Hey everyone, this is Laura Gadenik with Laura Gadenik Astrology, and I'm here to give you the astrology for the week of April 26th through May 2nd, 2021. So starting on Monday the 26th, which is today, tonight there is a full moon in Scorpio. Now, the full moon in Scorpio, whenever it happens every year, is a pretty uncomfortable experience overall because the moon wants to be comfortable and feel safe and secure, and Scorpio likes to go into the depths and isn't afraid of the darkness. And so usually during full moon in Scorpio, whenever we have one, which is usually once a year, there's a level of uncovering that happens, a level of going into the depths, doing some digging, letting go, and grieving. Scorpio is intense. Scorpio isn't afraid of death. It's a time of year, Scorpio season is the time of year where everything is going to seed in the northern hemisphere. So the full moon in Scorpio is a time of letting go after we have excavated what is in our closets, in our mental, psychological, spiritual closets, what's been buried in the ground, what we've failed to look at and let go of. You know, this is a big time to do that. So we have some interesting things going on with this full moon. So we have Mars, the ancient ruler of Scorpio, in Cancer, which is the sign of the moon. So, and then we have the moon in Scorpio, which is Mars's sign. So this is what's called mutual reception. And both the moon and Mars are in signs of their fall. So it might be a bit more of an intense full moon than usual. There's definitely a sense of hunger or yearning for something, for an emotional release of some kind. These are in water signs, which is about our emotional life. Mars is about independence, breaking free, doing things your way, working for you, and can indicate conflict or strife. And Mars isn't super happy in the sign of Cancer, a sign about bonding, unity with family in particular, kind of like finding your people. And so there might be this sense of hunger or yearning for family bonding of some kind, right? So that's the Cancer part, as well as breaking free from that and finding your own way in some way. Scorpio is reminds us of the life and death process, that not everything lasts and that death is a part of life's process, which, compared to the sign of Cancer where Mars is right now, that's pretty hard to contemplate or think about. It's kind of like Cancer is the bounty of life, the beginning of life. Cancer represents mother and family and how we were nurtured, early childhood, and Cancer is used to abundance because it's during this time of year in the northern hemisphere where everything is full of life and there are things growing in the gardens and on the trees. Whereas Scorpio is that time of year, once again, where everything is dying and all the plants are going to seed. So there's more of a comfortability with the dying process, with letting go, even with things getting darker, because in the Scorpio time of year, the sun is losing its light and we're heading into winter. And so there's kind of maybe this process of feeling a deep hunger, desire for family bonding or belonging or finding your true way, your true path, and maybe letting go of some sort of family ties or ties that feel like family, which might be really painful or hard. Not to say that this is going to be happening for everyone. It might even be more of an emotional process or part of a larger cycle. But Yeah, I don't know, it's intense. There's definitely kind of a darkness to this full moon of letting go of maybe where we've felt like we've belonged for the past little while, and letting that part die in a way, and knowing or having faith that, you know, through the darkness there's maybe a new family, a new place of belonging where we can kind of be reborn. That's kind of what's coming up for me right now. Simultaneously, this full moon is 3 degrees away from being opposed to Uranus, which feels kind of like a disruptive upheaval emotionally. You know, might be even surprising emotions coming up unexpectedly. Or something externally coming to light, coming to full light, or being illuminated unexpectedly or out of the blue. You know, Uranus, whenever there's an aspect with Uranus, it's almost like this 180 turn of events. So watch out for that. But simultaneously, this full moon is making a square to Saturn, which is the planet of responsibility, obligation, and duty, and limits and restraints. So at the same time, there can be maybe a sense of this oppressive feeling, or something that's holding us in place, something that's bounding us to where we are, which is a pretty uncomfortable feeling. It's kind of like being stuck a little bit, or you know, you have to find a creative solution to be able to continue these duties or obligations that you have, or kind of life ambitions even, while allowing space for some kind of turnaround or some sort of change to take place. So there's definitely this aspect, or this energy of needing to get freer in some part of our life, and there's some sort of boundary that needs to be talked about, or that needs to be considered, or that we need to adhere to, while that need for change is underway, I guess. Yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts around the full moon in Scorpio. Simultaneously tonight, on the 26th, Pluto stations retrograde, which kind of intensifies this whole thing, because Pluto is it's the modern ruler of Scorpio, and Pluto does represent kind of all similar things to Scorpio, to be honest. What's beneath the surface? Is it gold, or is it skeletons or rot? You know, Pluto asks us to research, to dig, to be totally, brutally honest, even if it's painful. Pluto represents the death and rebirth process. So, you know, that's happening today. And if you have planets, personal planets around 26 degrees of the cardinal sign, so Capricorn, Libra, Cancer, and Aries, then this might be especially felt for you. In addition, if you have planets around the fixed degrees of, so Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius, around 10 degrees, I think it's 10 degrees, maybe it's 13, of those signs, where the full moon will be taking place, or close to Uranus, then this will be felt for you as well. Okay, so Thursday, Mercury makes a sextile to Neptune. Pretty subtle aspect, not super intense or super felt. It's one of those aspects that we need to take advantage of to be felt, you know. But it's a day for dreaming, for thinking about what's possible, fancying something, creating something, being creative, maybe playing some music. Yeah, not a huge aspect, very subtle. Friday, we will feel the energy of the sun conjoining Uranus. So this is kind of continuing the theme or the story of this past week with this full moon opposing Uranus. So once again, carrying through the themes of surprise, unexpected changes, unexpected directions in your life, or maybe a different turn of events. It can feel really challenging to your sense of stability and security. because, the sun and Uranus are in the sign of Taurus, which is a fixed earth sign. Fixed earth does not like to move or change or, it really likes that stability, that security of constancy. And so it might feel uncomfortable, and it might actually mean or indicate a change in something that is physical or of the earth. Taurus is an earth sign, so that represents physical things in the physical world, like your things, your stuff, your money, your health, your wealth, all that stuff. So just keeping that in mind. Okay, so Saturday, I think it's Saturday evening going into Sunday, Mercury makes a trine to Pluto, which makes way for deep and possibly transformative, transformational conversations. Mercury rules the mind. Pluto, once again, is that which is beneath the surface that needs to be seen whenever there is an aspect to Pluto. It should be pretty connective. Trines are of the nature of Jupiter, which is expansiveness. And on that same timeline, we have Venus sextiling Neptune. Venus is about relationships, and Neptune is very mergy, connective, about dreams, very sympathetic and compassionate planet. So it really should be a time of deep, honest communication, conversations that are still connective and hold compassion. Okay, and then Sunday, we have the sun. So the sun, remember, just conjoined Uranus on Friday, and then Sunday it's making a square to Saturn. Because remember, this is the major theme of the year, is the Saturn-Uranus square. Remember, we had the first major square back in February. We'll have the second exact square in June, I believe. And then the third and final one will be in December. So this is a year about making big structural changes to your life while maintaining obligations, responsibilities, duties, and ambitions. That's Saturn. But Uranus requires that we alter something, or that we do a 180 turn of events in some way, form, or fashion. And so whenever we have planets that, come through the fixed signs in particular, they kind of highlight this Saturn-Uranus square theme for the year. So when the sun and Mercury and Venus and any other planet when those planets are in Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, it's going to be highlighting this theme of the year, which is the Saturn-Uranus square. And so that's happening right now, right? And it'll come up again in June once the Saturn-Uranus square forms again with each other. But right now it's coming up because the sun and Mercury and Venus just made the same aspects. Now it's the sun. So once again, the sun square Saturn is bringing up this sense of limitation, heaviness, duty, obligation, a sense of, I have to do this thing. But then Uranus, the sun conjoining with Uranus is like, okay, but also, freedom is important, doing what I want is important, reaching for the ideal is important, doing things differently is important. So it's kind of like combining these two very different, kind of opposing energies of like structure and freedom. And that's being highlighted. That was highlighted last week, and it's being kind of tied up into a little bow this week with the sun. So yeah, kind of a big week. Definitely allow yourself to grieve, let go, process, be truthful and honest. Might be challenging if you're attached to certain ideas or certain plans that you have, certain ways that your life is headed. This week might kind of showcase a turn of events or major changes that were unexpected. Just know that everything happens. Well, not everything happens for a reason. Maybe it does, but trust the process. You really can. There's so many ways to still do what you want to do, fulfill your duties and obligations, and maybe even like your life's path, life's ambition. That's very Saturnian. And there's also a way to be flexible and adjust to what's necessary. You know, we can't just like stay in one place because of security. We need to constantly be evolving and changing and allowing growth, which is kind of what Uranus urges us to do. So yeah, that's the week, you know. It's going to be ongoing. Definitely lots coming up this week. And I'll be back next week with another update. Good luck, and I hope you have a wonderful week ahead. Aloha.